that the Sun Prairie Action Resource Coalition is putting on, and we are really thrilled to kind of provide an opportunity for real community dialogue with the candidates in kind of an informal setting and give everyone a chance to share their concerns. We solicited some questions from the members of our own group and then discussed those and voted for the ones that we liked best. So we prepared a list of questions that we'll ask. If you'd like to see what those questions are, you can get a copy of them at that back table. We also ask that if you're interested in learning more about our group and getting involved, you can join our email list or fill out one of the volunteer membership forms that's on that table back there as well before you leave today. And finally, if anyone is interested in being trained to register voters and participate in our voter registration drive here in Sun Prairie, we're having a voter registration training session tomorrow night at City Hall at 5 o'clock. If you'd like to join that list of people, please let me know. It's limited space and the city clerk needs to know by tomorrow. But that's open to anyone who wants to be trained to register voters. You can't register voters in Sun Prairie unless you're deputized by the city clerk. So it's important that we go through these steps. So if you're interested in that, just let me or Julie back there know before the end of the day. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guest. As soon as she's done.
Hello, my friends.
Kathleen Falk is an experienced member of our community. She has many years of experience as Dane County executive, and we were happy to hear that she was throwing her name into the ring for potential governor of Wisconsin, and we're very glad that you came to meet with us today. So thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
We'll like to give you a few minutes to introduce yourselves, to let us know why you're running, and then we'll start with a list of questions that we've developed and then open it up to questions from the audience. Al Guyan here will help moderate the question and answer period once we get started.
Can I just do 20 seconds on that? Kathleen will have her opening statement. When you pose a question, think to the future and say, what do you want to have happen? What do you want things to be done? And have her address that. Or if you want to pose a problem and say, what are you going to do about this? That way it helps focus the question. In order to get 8 or 9 questions in 45 minutes, you'll need to be very brief. And so we'll have a little time for follow-up, but we need to move along so that at least 8 or 9 people have a chance to have a question put to Kathleen Falk. So, fire away.
Thank you. Al's been keeping the rules for much of his professional life and watched his career, so he's the right one to do this. It is great to be back in Sun Prairie. You know, for 14 years, I worked for you, and I want to work for you again. And that's why I'm here, to ask for your support. But as I look around the room, I see so many people who have made such a difference in our community. Jeannie Barrett, I put on the Parks and the Youth Commission, and she has done a fabulous job on that. But you know her for her parks work too, in the Sun Prairie. March, she's incredible. Tiffany, sitting in the back row there, I put her on a very important task force that helps us reduce the racial disparity in our criminal justice system. She did a really fabulous job. And I look around the room and see dear friends from other haunts of life. Mary, we went to high school together, although I'm a little bit older than her. Not much, but we went to high school together just a few, 45 years ago. And of course we have Chris Mertz from the Sun Prairie newspaper here, the Sun Prairie Star. We have the fabulous SPARC public TV network. Thank you for all you do. Channel 27's here, so I feel like I'm at home. I am at home. So it's great to be here, and I'm running for governor because, like you, I just can't bear to see what Governor Scott Walker has done to this state that I know and love and grew up in. I hardly recognize it. You know, we don't ask for too much in our state. We just want some good education for our kids, decent health care when we need it, a decent paying job, and some clean air and water so when we're not working we can enjoy it with our kids. And Governor Walker has just turned this state upside down. From the very beginning, when he was not honest with us voters about what he was going to do, and then rolling back every one of these basic values that we hold dear. You know, he started with big tax breaks for a few, And then he had a fund that by the largest cuts in public education in our state's history. And that's not our values. He is throwing off 65,000 men, women, and children from their health care. Those aren't our Wisconsin values. As we speak, the legislature still, his allies and with his inspiration, trying to roll back our environmental laws. And he said that if we went along with his very far, extreme right agenda that isn't our values, that we would be better off. And here we now are 14 months later, and the report card is in. Wisconsin has lost jobs 6 straight months in a row, the worst record of any state in the nation. And so we know we can do better, we will have better, and Wisconsin wants better. And that's why this extraordinary, historic effort of 1 million people saying in the way a democracy allows, signing your name saying we want a different governor. And you have been incredible this past year. I mean, this organization, Heather, and the team of leaders here have just rose up last spring like 1 million others did and said, this is our democracy. If we don't want the leader we have, if we feel misled by him during that campaign, then the way to change that is by a recall. And so my hats are off to the incredible work you've done, and the fact that you're continuing to go is why I know we will beat Scott Walker in just a few short months. But you are not alone. Since leaving office last April, I have spent most of my time working all around the state, meeting with citizens just like you, from one end of the state to the other. And as I would go to communities all across the state, sent by the Recall Wisconsin or United Wisconsin folks or the Dem Party out to meet with citizens, they would wonder, are we the only ones in Kenosha thinking this? And I could reassure them that no, there are citizens just like you, many of whom have never participated in the political process before. Many of whom. And that is also why I know that we will beat Scott Walker in just a few months. You know, when I was up in Oshkosh on a really cold, blustery day while people were getting signatures during that 2-month period, and there happened to be that day coming in to get a clipboard and petitions to take out and go stand in front of the grocery store for 2 hours in the whipping cold, an older couple than I. And I had the chutzpah to ask them, how old are you? And they said, we're 75. And I said, do you mind if I ask, have you ever done this before? I figured they did this their whole lives. Oh, they said, no, we've never done anything like this. And I said, no, why are you doing it? And they said, because the cuts in education are hurting our grandchildren. And that is what I saw and heard since last spring as I have been working all across the state. You know, I'm proud that I was the one to file the first lawsuit after Governor Walker and his allies took away 50 years of workers' rights in the state. But I committed myself then to doing whatever I could to getting our state back on track. And that's why the day after we did that historic, brave, inspiring action, filing 1 million signatures, I said, I'm running. I'd like to be your governor. I've got the experience from the day to get on the job day one to get our state back on track. And you know what I have done as your county executive for 14 years in a row, balanced the budget year in and year out. As you've heard me say a few hundred times, I love balancing budgets. It's where you show your priorities. And Governor Walker's priorities have not been ours. It's where you solve problems and move forward. And that's why when the economy crashed in 07 and 08, and we had a choice about how to deal with it as a county, I sat down with 8 unions. I bargained respectively at the table. We got the job done for you as taxpayers by their agreement of a $10 million in savings for you. It was the right way to do it. We got it done. I am very proud of those 8 unions and their shared sacrifice. And we solved problems that are the real ones that people face. I don't know, you can tell Sun Prairie, which is growing so fast, like the rest of the county. 15 years ago, I brought the environmentalists together with the builders and the realtors and developers. And by working together, we have now accomplished, these years later, the first, the best, or the only in the state, and some of the best in the nation, environmental protections. Or the programs that I created, and we have one right here in Sun Prairie. We work with the families of newborns, the ones who are the most economically disadvantaged in our county, in a neighborhood right here in Sun Prairie. We're working with those moms and dads, helping them get jobs and keep jobs so their families can move up the economic ladder. That's what I love doing. That's why I'm eager to be your governor. We have here a very short 2 months. This election's in May. That is not far down the road. And so having the ability here to put that big tent together that it takes, because Governor Scott Walker, we know, has more money than you could possibly spend. You know, instead of rolling up his sleeves like we did here in Dane County to solve problems, he has been crisscrossing the country, collecting big checks from literally Texas billionaires who can single-handedly write out $500,000 as one did, New York millionaires, Florida millionaires, Missouri millionaires. Well, we don't have that. We got something better. We got 5.5 million people. And we know that they want to take back our state, to get us back to our values. And I'll be on the side of people here in Wisconsin. You may be running for governor of Texas, but I would like to be your governor. And I also know, growing up in this state, that, you know, once you have lost someone's trust, there is no amount of money that buys it back. And Governor Walker has lost our trust. I've also, you know, we got to put together the best campaign you possibly can, because we've got this short window. I am so proud of my campaign team. Megan McHattie is my campaign manager. She ran the United Wisconsin recall effort. Scott Ross left One Wisconsin to come and be my communications director. That's the kind of team I have put together. I'm very grateful and honored for their support. And I'm very honored that I received, I believe it's fair to say, the endorsements of any and all the organizations that have done an endorsement in this election so far. WEAC, AFSCME, SCIU, AFT, United Food and Commercial Workers, Emily's List nationwide with 1 million members, Clean Wisconsin Action Fund. I'm very proud of that. But I'm here to ask for your support. And as you know from the hardworking county executive we have, no one will work harder to beat Scott Walker for us than me, and even more importantly, to go to work for you. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to your questions and comments.
We did ask folks to send